Everybody who knows me, who sees me around, will always know it's Jack, the 90s guy. I'm Jack, I'm 23, and I transformed my house into a little bit of a 90s time capsule. And I wasn't expecting to get as much of a reaction as I did, but I'm here now, so turns out people did enjoy it. The reason I love the 90s is because I was born at the end of it, and my mum and dad have got so many photographs when they first moved in together then, and home videos on little tapes, and I feel like I missed out on that sort of really warm family, unspoiled, like it's an unspoiled family vibe where you weren't distracted with phones and things, and I think that's something that resonated with me a lot. And also I've always liked the way that my parents' home looked then and the music that we were listening to, so it just went from there. Because I've got autism as well, I've always felt like I didn't really fit in anywhere, and I had a really rough time at school, so being able to come somewhere where you're not being judged, it's your space and you've chosen it to look the way it looks is a really important thing for me. A lot of people always ask me why, and why is it like this, or what have you done, and I think I grew up in a really big family as a kid, and I had a really lovely safe space at my own home and at my grandparents, and over time people have moved away or family lose contact, so I didn't have that anymore. So a lot of the reason it looks like this is it's got aspects of my grandma's house in it or my mum and dad's house, so it's sort of keeping that memory of that safe environment now. So I think that's the main reason I've got it all, and that's the reason people always seem to ask me why have I got it like that. This is not so much a 90s item, it's more of a 90s mindset. I get all my photographs printed and I keep photo albums, and that's a really important possession to me that brings me a lot of joy, and I think that's something we've lost, not being able to hold physical things and collect things, and we lose memories so easily, so being able to have my photo albums is a really nice thing. When I say 90s mindset, I think I have very modern values when it comes to political things and moving forward with that, but I think having things that I'm able to buy and fix and plan on keeping and have physical copies of things is quite an old-fashioned thing now, and a lot of people have everything on their phone and it's all there at the touch of a button and people expect it instantly, and I think in that era people had dial-up internet, but because it was new and it was all they knew about, they accepted that it was slow and they had a lot more patience and tolerance for things. I do cheat, and I have an iPhone and I have a laptop and obviously the internet because I share it with everybody, but I think that's been a really good, useful thing as well, because being able to have a smartphone and share what I do with people and get such lovely comments saying about how they remember things has been really good. I mean, as I said earlier, I've got autism, so I have quite a photographic memory of a lot of things, even when I was very small. I think my earliest memory was when I was about 18 months old, so I didn't remember loads, but I have a few very early memories. And also seeing actual footage on tape of my family, even though I weren't there, it's almost like a memory for me, and I feel like I sort of missed out on that, so I think this is my way of reclaiming that time now and saying, well, I haven't missed out. People always ask me if I wish I was around then at this age, and being a gay guy from like quite a northern town, I don't think I do. I think we've come so far when it comes to things like that and the way I'm treated as a person. I mean, we've still got a long way to go, but I think I appreciate how far we've come in that sort of social way. And my version of the 90s here doesn't have the actual aspects of a lot of the negative culture, it's more of a rose-tinted version, so going back to the authentic era, I don't think I could do. My everyday car is a 1989 Austin Metro. I had one as my first car about 5 years ago, and I loved it and I sold it and regretted it. And then I found this one on Facebook, of all places, really cheap. And I went and got it, and my dad says, it's perfect, you can have it. He checked it all for me and he came home with it, and I didn't even know he was bringing it. I just saw him drive up the street with it on the back of a trailer, and it was the best feeling ever. If this house was sort of a more contemporary, modern style, I don't think I'd be too upset about the main bits of it, but I think I'd like my room to stay as it is. And if it wasn't like that, I feel like it's almost like a little piece of me, the house is, and it's a big piece of my family as well. Like, even though I've done this, a lot of the things are what my mum and dad like as well, and I think it's a good symbol of our family, and I want it to feel like that all the time. So I think if it was modern, it'd lose that. And it'd lose the history and the story. And I'm really sentimental. I love everything to have a story. Most of my music I listen to a lot of it is 90s, 80s, before even. I've got such an eclectic taste, but I like that era because there was so much going on, so many different styles, so many new things happening. And I think with my television as well, I watch a lot of TV series and films from then, which is hard because I suppose you can only watch them so many times, so I have to have a break and then come back to watching them. But that era, there's something sort of, it doesn't take itself seriously. There's still that wholesomeness without being too serious. A lot of my clothes are sourced, again, in charity shops. People end up clearing out their wardrobe and find things they've forgotten about, and then there's me picking it up and reintroducing it into like my wardrobe. So, but now, I think especially this year, everyone seems to have gone mad for sort of 90s clothing. It's a big trend at the minute in Urban Outfitters and places like that. So it's weird to feel like I'm on trend. A lot of my things, which is unusual to people, is I get a lot of things gifted me. I have a lot of people who know what I like, and they'll see things and send me a message and say, hey, I've got this, or I'm throwing this out, would you like it? Which is lovely. My main source of the inspo for the house, the decor, the colours, comes a lot from a lot of magazines. I've got hundreds of magazines from that era, home magazines, and not just photos of my parents' home as well, that influences it, but also silly things like you watch TV programmes. I mean, I watch The Vicar of Dibley because it makes me happy, it's silly. But when I was a kid, I used to watch it, I always wanted her cottage. I always thought how lovely it was, so that influenced it a lot too. I think it's hard when I think about being older and if this is going to carry on until then, but I think for me, yeah, it probably will carry on. Unless there's a reason I have to change it. At the minute I don't have to, and in the foreseeable future I don't have to, so I don't think I'd want to change.